Hey friends, today on Gardening with Creekside, the last day of February. It feels like spring out here. We are going to plant this fantastic brand new, believe it or not, it is a shade garden flower bed. We've talked about this before. This has been kind of an ongoing project since this fall when we put in the fence, but this has been a project that I have wanted to do ever since we moved into this house like 19 years ago, was to create a woodland garden in this space. We are blessed with lots of big, beautiful oak trees right here. So even though it looks like it is a full sun area, it is actually a shady area when it counts, and that is in spring, summer, and early fall, because once these trees flush out, this will be nice and shady. Yesterday, my mom and I came through, gathered up all the plants together, and she and I work really well together when we plan a landscape and lay it out. So she and I had lots of fun laying these plants out and deciding where they're going to go. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to walk you through, show you the plants that we're going to use, explain my design process thoughts to you, and then we're going to go ahead and get them planted. Yes, it is the last day of February. We are in North Carolina. It is currently like 75 degrees. The high is 77, hence the sun hat and the summer attire. This is abnormally warm for us. Thankfully, it's going to cool off as we, progress through the next couple of weeks. So that's why I want to go ahead and get these babies in the ground so those roots can start getting established. We are going to have irrigation in this flower bed. Jerry's already run the main lines. So if you see these fun little, they look like big giant worms sticking up out of the ground, that is the irrigation that we're going to connect to once all the plants get in the ground and we know exactly where to lay the irrigation. Now, I'm going to go ahead and share with you as far as how we got the design planned, but I also have very much in mind that the design can change based on where the roots are. So for example, I've got Lenten roses right here. If there's massive roots and I can't dig down, or that for my camellia, then we're gonna move some things. So that is what we are going to do today. All right, so we're gonna walk through this whole space and I'm gonna show you my design and the plants that we're gonna use. I cannot verbally recite all the plant details because I'm sorry, my brain just can't hold all those details. So I will have the name of the plants and their basic information as the graphics at the bottom. So if you like a plant, take a screenshot or hit pause on the video and write it down and we can move on from there. All right, so we're gonna start over here. Back closer to give you a bit of perspective. This is the entrance, obviously, to our house, to the nursery. This is the gate, right? So depends on how you look at this flower bed. We're just going to kind of, because you get it from really almost like, I don't know, 180 degrees, different parts of it. So right here in these lovely, beautiful black pots with some sticks in them, these are actually petite oakleaf hydrangeas. This is ruby slippers, and I've got 4 of them placed here. Ruby slippers is a nice, really short, 3 to 4 foot tall oakleaf hydrangea, but it gets wide. So the idea is that we have 4 of them here in a mass, and eventually they'll grow together and look like one giant one. This will get, all of this bed is going to get sun at some point, right? Typically, it's going to be in the late afternoon because the sun sets basically right here. So these will get some sun, but only just a few hours, and they are on irrigation. Then coming back along the fence line, this will be my shadiest area because of all the trees, of course. Now, this is really fun. This camellia is called a corkscrew camellia, and you can see that it is a japonica because it is blooming right now. So you know that it's a japonica, big, huge, fat leaves, and is blooming basically late winter into spring. Corkscrew is going to be about 6 to 8 feet tall and wide. And I wanted to put this close to the road so people could see it because it's a contorted camellia. Like, it has all sorts of fun twists and turns into it. Now, coming on back through along the fence, I have got 3 of the Formosa azaleas. So Formosa azaleas are going to be your traditional, quote, traditional azaleas. These are only going to bloom one time. It has had huge, massive magenta flowers on it. So it is going to be that traditional once bloomer, once and done kind of bloom in that springtime. So it'll be that nice, big, huge, I just can imagine it getting nice and big, kind of peeking through the back of the fence here. So there's 3 kind of spaced down through here. Gives me my height in the back of the bed. So you want to go work, of course, from the tallest in the back, kind of more down towards your short. These do need that filtered sun, so this will be a great spot for them. And then in the springtime, they'll be absolutely stunning with those massive magenta flowers. So we've got 3 of those down through here. Now, another camellia, but this is what we call a sasanqua. Sasanquas, we can know just by looking at it, it's because they have much smaller leaves than your japonicas. So you can see that the leaves are a lot smaller than that corkscrew, and these are the ones that are going to bloom in the fall. This particular one is Autumn Spirit. And Autumn Spirit, if I'm getting this correct, is because I have an autumn moon down there, I believe. So one of them is white and one of them is pink. That doesn't tell me on the tag. It doesn't have a very good tag. I want to say this is a pink one. And so it's going to be about like a 4 to 5, if I remember correctly, tall and wide. If you want to prune your camellias, because like how this is getting really long right here, this would be about the right time to prune them, especially your sasanquas. So you can just come in here right above a bud and just trim it just a little bit, just to shape it. The only reason I'm going to prune this is to keep it nice and tight and compact so it doesn't get leggy on me. So we've got Autumn Spirit right here. Now, I hope that the roots will allow me to plant these 3 hellebores or Lenten roses right here. We actually have in this one, I believe I have 2 different kinds. And I remember I have got, let's see, Molly's White, which is obviously a beautiful, starts out as a white, turns to a beautiful kind of a greenish color. Then I have a Glenda's Gloss, and yes, a Glenda's Gloss. So these 2 are the same, and this one's a little bit different. So Miss Molly is going to be that, of course, that really pretty white, and then Glenda's Gloss, these 2 over here are going to be that same white with a little bit of the pink on the edge. 18 to 24 inches tall for all of these, 18 to 24 tall and wide. So I do imagine eventually that they'll just fill in this whole section. Love these. Beautiful evergreen foliage on them, but they bloom this time of year. So this will be a really fun little area right here, and we've got more hellebores as we move on down. Let's see, where should we go from here? All right, come on over here, because, and we do have a little bit of a windy day today, so that's why I just picked up these plants and they're still falling over. This is why we need to get them in the ground today. Throughout the front of this bed, I have got some of this. This is fothergilla. It's a type of, it's a native plant. The specific cultivar is Mount Airy. And the fothergilla, the Mount Airy, is going to be full sun to part sun. So that's why I kind of put it more towards the front of the bed. Lots of good sun. These are the beautiful blooms that it does this time of year. These have been sitting out all winter, and so this is the natural time for these plants to put on their beautiful kind of like that bottle brush bloom on them. And then in the fall, they do gorgeous like burgundy red and yellow, beautiful foliage. So they're all the way down through here, and then I have 2 bigger ones closer to the fence. We'll talk about those in a minute. 2 more Lenten roses. These Lenten roses are going to be more in the yellow family. Super fun. This is the Honeymoon Tropical Sunset. I don't know if the camera will cooperate and focus on that, but look at that. So the Honeymoon is a series, right? So you have the Honeymoon series, Tropical Sunset. The hellebores, of course, are going to be a little bit more shade to sun, but this time of year with that winter sun, they will be perfectly fine. And then this one is actually blooming right now. This is still that Honeymoon, but this is the Spanish Flare. Look at that. So we still have 2 yellow Lenten roses right here, but they're going to complement each other, but they're not the exact same. Trying to do like a woodland garden, you do not have to be matchy-matchy. I don't want it to be matchy-matchy. I just want it to blend together, but not look like it's been like very symmetrical and very planned, if that makes sense. It's planned, but it's not planned. All right, moving back more towards the back of the flower bed, more camellias and rhododendrons. So this is keeps falling over because it's such a beautiful plant. This is, I have two of these. This is the Roseum Pink. Now, I've talked about it before that I am a rescuer of plants at the nursery. These three rhododendrons, Jerry's laughing behind the camera, but these three have been here since last year, right? So it's fair game. They've been here for a year. It's time for Jenny to go ahead and claim them as her own and install them into the landscape. So see, you snooze, you lose. You've had the chance. You had a whole year to come get them. So now they're mine. So Roseum Pink, we have Roseum Pink, and then we have English Roseum, and then another Roseum Pink down there. Again, balanced, not matchy-matchy. Beautiful, nice, of course, rhododendrons we love. Beautiful, evergreen. They can handle a little bit of sun. Again, this is winter sun. When that summer sun hits, they will be in the shade. Beautiful, huge, massive flowers in springtime. Traditional spring, not fake spring like we're in right now. Then we got another gorgeous camellia right here. This one is, I think this is Jack's. Yes, this is Jack's. And Jack's, can you tell what kind it is? Japonica? Sasanqua? Japonica, that's right, because it has those huge, massive leaves on it. And then look. Look at that. We have a flower bud. So Jack's, of course, is going to have that beautiful pink flower to it. Nice, big, double bloom and nice presence to it. So moving on down. So we got the other Formosa right here. This is my poor little, this is the English Roseum that will not stay upright. But see how nice and pretty that is? Beautiful. Fothergillas. We have another patch of hellebores in here. These are all the same. These are the Frostkiss Moondance. So all of these are going to be the exact same, still 18 to 24 inches tall and wide, and will grow together quite nicely. Notice that I'm putting the perennials closer to the roots of the trees, right? Because I only have to go so far down as opposed to like a 3-gallon shrub, and the root systems on these perennials are not going to be as extensive as the other plants. And you might be saying, well, Jenny, how are you going to are these plants, the shrubs, going to be okay growing amongst these oak trees? Well, if you go to the North Carolina mountains, you see mountain laurel and rhododendron all over the place growing in the woods underneath hardwood trees. So once you get them established, they can handle living amongst other trees. That is what they're supposed to do. Same thing with the azaleas. They are a shade plant. The only way they're going to have shade is if they have trees around them. So once you get them established, they will do just fine. And then another set of Lenten roses. I'm telling you, if you don't have Lenten roses in your garden, y'all are missing out. Now, where we had the honeymoon series, we have the wedding party series. So much fun. This is a Flower Girl. So these two right here are both the wedding party series, and they're going to be more in that white pink family. So where my honeymoon were yellows, these are going to be in that white pink. So we've got Flower Girl and Blushing Bridesmaid. So there you go. Same Roseum Pink over there. So we're still repeating. More fothergillas coming down through here. And then we have another group of 3 camellias right here. Now, this is one that came in to the nursery from that delivery that we took not too long ago, just the other week. Now I've got an old bloom and then I've got a new bloom. Jerry, can you show that? Obviously a beautiful double red, gorgeous colors. It's blooming. It has big, huge, fat leaves on it, so it is a japonica as well. This is April Tryst. April Tryst is going to be 5 to 8 feet tall, but only 3 to 4 feet wide. So it'd be much more upright than wide. So that's going to be fun. Then we have got a japonica. No, Sasanqua, sorry. Getting all my mixed up. So this is a Sasanqua, a fall bloomer. This one is, the autumn moon. So this is going to be, the double white. So the other Sasanqua up there is the pink. This is the white. Really fun on that. And then this sweet thing right here, she's not blooming yet, but she has got buds on her. This is Lemon Love. And Lemon Love is going to be my biggest one. And if you can see and tell by the name, this is going to be the softest, creamiest pale yellow white flower you've ever seen. It was actually blooming when I bought it last year. It's how long I've had it in a pot. It was blooming, stunning, absolutely stunning. It is going to get nice and big. That's why I put it in this corner, so it can fill up this entire corner of this fence right here and will be gorgeous. Now, camellias do tend to be slow growers, so it's going to take a hot minute for these to fill in. That's okay. That's why I want to get them in the ground now, so that way they can grow and be happy. And then down here, these are two more of the Mount Airy fothergillas. I had 5 in the 3 gallons, and then these are 7 gallons. They're a little bit behind as far as the bloom time, but they're nice and happy and healthy. How do I know? Is because 1, they have buds on them, and 2, you can bend them and they're not snapping. So these 2 are going to go here to kind of anchor this side of the fence. This is going to be the most sun. They will be very happy. Obviously, because this is a really tall fence right here, that's where I want to put my biggest pots. I don't want to put my 7 gallons somewhere else and then bring the little smaller plants here. Put your bigger plants in the space that holds and anchors wherever it is that you are. So it's in the back corner or along this fence. So the plan for today is we have the small bobcat. Jackson went and grabbed that for Jerry. We've got the auger attachment on there. Now, you could certainly use a shovel. You could certainly use like the power planter auger, your handheld auger, but it is going to be quite interesting and a workout to dig all of these holes underneath these established trees right here. So if you have the equipment, use it. If you want to rent equipment for a day, do that too. You can absolutely do that. We have done that before we had all this equipment because of the nursery. We would rent things too. So we're going to use what we have, which is the bobcat with the auger on it, because we want to break up the soil as much as we can. If there's any roots, we're going to break those up. Obviously, if it's a big root, we're moving the plant. If it's a little tiny little root, it'll be fine. This auger can handle it. So we're going to dig our holes and use our biotone. We are not going to supplement the hole with anything. You can, if you wanted to throw a little bit of compost in there, you could. Jerry's saying no, and when I say a little bit, I mean like 1 part like compost to like 5 or 6 parts native soil, like just a little bit. These plants are meant to go in areas like this. So when you have an area, if you choose the right plants to fit the area, they're not going to need to be supplemented very much. So we're going to do biotone, dig a nice big hole, nice and wide, fluff it up, put it in there. The plants will go in, we'll backfill with all of our native soil, and then once we get this whole bit completely done, like the irrigation run and all of that stuff, then we will come back with our compost mulch blend and top dress this. But we're not doing that today. So without further ado, we are going to get the machine going and start digging holes. So we're going to dig holes. I'm going to move the plant, Jerry's going to dig it, and then I'm just going to put the plant back, and then I'm going to actually come back and use the biotone and plant the plant then. That's the method that we have found works really well for us. It's going to be great. We're going to get these babies in the ground. Yay! Love it. All right, here we go. All right, my friends, so we've got all of the shrubs and the perennials in the ground in their new home. Brenna is panting, we're panting. It is hot for sure out here today. We're not used to this warm weather, but everybody got put in. I mean, it was really simple. We just got those holes dug, got the biotone in there, and then just used the native soil and put it back in there. You may have seen me, I kind of got my foot and tamped it down because the holes were, of course, a lot bigger than the shrubs, which is a good thing, but that soil was nice and loose, and so we really wanted to kind of like pack it down so that we don't have air pockets in the shrubs, because if you have an air pocket up against the roots, then that's not good for your roots. So make sure that you get your soil kind of pushed down in there. Now, normally at the end of February, beginning of March, we would not have to worry about getting water on these newly planted shrubs, but these are not normal times and it is quite warm. So what we will do tomorrow, they'll be fine today, but tomorrow we will get the water tank hooked up onto the tractor and come back and make sure that everybody gets a nice good drink of water, because the irrigation is not set up yet, as far as like it's not run to the individual places. And so we will need to do that. So we're gonna give everybody a drink of water tomorrow immediately. Then we will get the irrigation hooked up here in the coming days. Once we get past tomorrow, it really does cool down and we're supposed to get some more rain later on this weekend. So really tomorrow is just the big need for the water immediately. Then we'll get the irrigation hooked up. Then I may plant 1 or 2 more perennials in here for this season. And then we'll come back and top dress this whole bed with our compost pine bark fine mixture. Now, this space is not going to be a highly manicured garden. This is a woodland garden. Literally, it is in the woods. And with these beautiful, hardwood trees right here in the fall, tons of leaves fall. So I am not going to try to keep like all the leaves out of here, keep it really well manicured. The plants, of course, will be taken care of and healthy, but this is going to be a natural planting area. This may be about the only time we come in here and do a massive top dress, because we will have all that great leaf litter that comes year after year in this space. So that's pretty much it. It is done for today. It feels good to have them in the ground. I will feel a little bit better after tomorrow. We get them a good drink of water, make sure everybody's happy, because just like us, these plants are not used to these warm temperatures. And but it certainly helps get them in the ground. That way they can start soaking up some moisture that is in the ground already. So hope you found it fun. Hope you found it interesting. Of course, we will keep you updated as the things progress in this flower bed. As always, thanks so much for gardening with Creekside. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.